So what I want to do is basically draw on the literature in anthropology and psychology or ritual and try to conceptualize these ceremonies as a kind of ritual. And I have just 5 minutes, so I'll say very, very briefly three perspectives on a ritual drawn from anthropology, psychology, and also sociology. So first of all, one anthropological theory says that ritual is a costly sign of group belonging. When I participate in a ritual, especially a ritual that is difficult, painful, humiliating, and what you see here on the right is Australian Aborigines who have gone through scarification in their rite of initiation. This is actually extremely common in human cultures, and we even have it as in the form of hazing, right, in the military or in colleges. So this is something that shows that you're willing to pay a price for a group. This makes other members of the group trust you. This is one approach. Second approach, more psychological. Ritual is a mind hack. And this approach says that basically rituals exploit elements that we are, let's say, exploit psychological mechanisms that make us feel part of a group. So when people march in unison, when people dance in unison, when people sing in a coordinated way, this has been found to increase feelings of attachment to the group. In surveys that were run immediately after the activity. So, and this is no accident that all militaries in the world use this kind of coordinated marches in order to create an esprit de corps. So maybe ceremonies also work in this way. And the third function, and this is drawing more on sociology, is that rituals are not equal. They also assign different positions. And we may find that people, and these positions may be hierarchical, rituals signal switching between social categories, right? The whole idea of rite de passage. And we may find that people reject or object to the position that the ritual allocates to them. So, concrete hypothesis. From the ritual as membership signal and ritual as mind hack, this leads to the hypothesis that more cumbersome and more intensive rituals that involve more synchronized movement or speech or singing would produce a stronger effect, right? When these psychological mechanisms are operating, we expect the effect to be stronger. And the idea of ritual as position assignment leads to the hypothesis that the effect will be stronger on people who have a positive view of the group. In this case, we're talking about the nation that they are joining and of their place within it. And specifically when thinking about this hypothesis, I was drawing on literature specifically on naturalization ceremonies that describe how members of discriminated groups often resist the ceremony and they see it, they treat it in a more cynical way. So for example, second generation Turkish youth who naturalize in Netherlands resent the fact that they have to naturalize because they were already born in the Netherlands. So they feel humiliated by the fact that they have to participate in the ceremony, and their behavior is much more cynical, sometimes even disruptive, right? So I expect that people will respond based, if they feel discriminated, then they would be more cynical about the ceremony. I'm going to skip this last hypothesis. And basically, okay, so this is basically the question. This is what I'm trying to answer. And this is a project that's going to include several, I'm going to use several methods to try and get at it. But basically, I just want to describe the methodological challenge that I'm faced with when trying to answer this question. The problem is that we have two treatments that happen at the same time. People go through the ceremony, which is supposed to increase attachment, and they get citizenship, which is also supposed to increase attachment, right? So these are two treatments that happen at the same time and push people in the same direction. So what I'm going to be trying to do in this project, and I'm going to try various ways of getting at it, is to kind of isolate the effects of the ceremony from the effect of the citizenship acquisition. So in the US, I will try to, in the US, you cannot naturalize without a ceremony. So I will try to survey people before, shortly after, and 3 months after the ceremony. and look at the time effect of the ceremony, and also comparing people who underwent full ceremonies before COVID and the kind of socially distanced ceremonies. This is what the ceremonies look like today, right? It's not tight, it's not a big hall, it's 6 or 8 feet between the people who naturalize. And in California, they even have drive-through naturalizations where you just sit in your car and take the oath. You're just alone in your car or maybe with your someone from your family, right? So these are expected to have a weaker effect based on the hypothesis on ceremony that I described before.